Our next panel will focus on cinema. This region is the unannounced star in so many films, so many international films, both in English and Italian, are filmed here in Puglia because this is such a beautiful and diverse part of Italy. And I'll now turn over to the moderator of our next section, Unurmaa Janchiv, the Honorable Cultural Envoy of Mongolia, who will moderate the next session. Please give her a warm round of applause. Good to see you, my friend. Here you go.
Very much. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. First of all, may I congratulate Taivo, Joseph, Danielle, and everyone in the team for organizing such a beautiful event in a beautiful setting. Oh, it's very, very comfortable, just like in your living room. And I admire this theater, and I'm a big fan of opera, of Pavarotti, of course, and lots of Mongolian singers actually now singing around Italy, Arena de Verona. And last week, one of our opera singers was singing here, Ankhbayar. So it's really special to be in this beautiful atmosphere. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to panel 2. Cinema and performing arts, the role of storytelling and cultural identity as the creative economy forum here in Bari. Storytelling has always been more than entertainment. It shapes our cultural identity, strengthens diplomacy, and drives creative economy. Today, we are joined by 5 remarkable voices who embody this power through film, music, and performance. Let me introduce my panel. Sixx King, director, writer, producer, founder of Six Degrees Media. Lovely to meet you. Good, thank you. Take a seat. I'll stand up. I feel comfortable more standing up, and welcome my guests. Welcome Craig Terry, who is the managing director of Steinway and Sons UK. Welcome.
Where do you want me to go?
Anyway. Choice is yours. Ivan Di Ambrosio, who's the film producer. Ivan, I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Is he here yet? Not yet. Okay, the next speaker, Carolina Stamerra Grassi, producer and artistic director. And next speaker, Ollie Rose, director of Lang Lang International Music Foundation in the UK. Welcome. Anyway, you pick your seat. Someone here? Maybe here? Okay. Ivan? Okay, probably he's joining soon. Welcome. It's great to share a stage with you. And so let's start introducing ourselves. Storytelling has always reflected who we are, our histories, dreams, and identities. But in today's digital globalized world, it's also changing very fast. So I would like you take turns to tell you a little bit about yourselves and what type of work you do and what you stand for.
Hello. Is it what? Hi everyone, my name is Ollie Rose. I'm the Director of Operations at the Lang Lang International Music Foundation. The foundation was founded by world-renowned pianist Lang Lang, who I'm sure some of you might be aware of. And our mission is very simple. Our ethos is essentially, we believe in the transformative power of music, and we believe that all children should have access to music and music education regardless of their background or circumstances. Our programs vary. We have a music education program where we put music education into the most under-resourced schools in inner cities. We bring music to children with terminal illnesses, going through extreme mental health issues and going through bereavement. And we nurture the next generation of super talents, super talented musicians around the world.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Sixx King, and I am a director, producer. But I just want to first acknowledge all the young people here. Give it up for yourselves. Facciamo. So, I run 6 Degrees Media out of New York. I've been in the film and television business for 25 years. I am the first African American by Forbes to self-finance and self-distribute without a major studio. And I have several movies that are out. I have one movie that is out globally, running Christmas on all streaming platforms.
Yeah, I'm Craig Terry, the Managing Director of Steinway & Sons UK. And just a little bit about me. I've always been a creative person. I was born this way, and I've always loved fashion. And I got into the, I was born in a suit with a cocktail and a cigarette, you know. I couldn't wait to get to the big hotels in Chicago. I was born in a town of 10,000 people. You know, I ended up in the UK running a major company. So quite astonishing. And, yeah, our whole mission at Steinway & Sons is to spread music. And the fashion and music have always gone together. You know, I was also, I think, creative people don't have one interest. We have trouble deciding what we want to pursue. There's so many things we could do, you know. And I was a rock musician in the 60s and 70s, so it gave me a chance to wear wild clothes and be myself. And to all the young people here, we should just acknowledge, my advice is don't take advice. Follow your heart.
That is absolutely a good one.
And be who you want to be, you know. So it's a real pleasure to be here, and I got into this business by accident. I went to a party in 1985 when I was in the fashion business, and I met this woman that owned a piano store that was failing. And 3 weeks later, she hired me to run her business, and the rest is history. 40 years later, here I am. So you never know what's going to happen to you next. You know, your life can change in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Carolina Stamerra Grassi. I'm a creative director working on television and music show, and I'm very glad to be here to speak about a topic that is very close to my world.
Great. Okay. So I would like to add another speaker, Ivan D'Ambrosio, film producer. So we were introducing ourselves. Would you please tell a little bit about you and what work you do and what you stand for?
Okay.
Is there a microphone?
Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Ivan D'Ambrosio, producer in Bari with the Dynamo Film, which is an audiovisual and cinematographic production company. And I'm even the president of the local producers association, trying to promote the audiovisual industry in Puglia.
Fantastic. Wow, what a line of speakers. And I'm also honored to have 5 speakers. So we're going to spend 1 hour at least, right, Tavo? We have time. Thank you. Okay, so we are talking about storytelling in different forms of art. So particularly film and also performing arts, lots of music, performing artists. A little bit of background of myself is I'm honorary cultural envoy of Mongolia in London, but I've lived there for over 28 years. So this is very, I'm also producer of theater, film and opera and events. So this panel is very close to my heart, and I'm actually meeting some of my idols and who are making great changes in creative industry and creative economy. So let's start with our first question. How is storytelling evolving in cinema and the performing arts today? So any of you, if you would like to talk about that. Yeah, let's start.
Yeah, so let's say that we are in a period of big transition in terms of the way the audiovisual products are produced, realized, thought, and even watched. Because, just to make an example, 10 years ago, if you try to develop a project held in Italian, shot in Italian, the troubles that you were supposed to face with the international sales were much more higher, because Italian language is not in the first 15 languages spoken in the world, meaning that this is a point of big weakness. This was a point of big weakness. Because the first answer that international sales were used to reply was, this story can be interesting, can have an international audience, but it is supposed to be shot in English. Now, with all the changes that are still moving forward in our industry, even the biggest audiences feel confident to watch movies with subtitles, and this changed a lot, because now the local stories, if they have a potential of interest for even a worldwide audience, like a bunch of movies that were released in the last 5-6 years, even shot in Danish or in Italian or in Greek, now can have access to a wider market than before. And what it matters is if there's a good story, if there's a story that has a strong connection with some local environment, but even has some universal points of let's say, universal bullet points. So this changed a lot, even for the independent production companies working as we are doing since 2011, choosing Puglia as our headquarters, because we are always aiming to look for local stories that have a big potential interest for a worldwide audience. Storytelling changed a lot in this way, and I would not now enlarge my first contribution to this wonderful panel, talking even about AI, because that is the other factor that is going to change a lot, even the way that the storytelling is supposed to grow and to move forward in the next years. So let's say that talking about the point of view of an independent production company, the storytelling lost its limits from the industry, and somehow now even the smaller producers have much more chances to find stories that can be interesting even for big players. And this is the main way how this changed in the last years from our point of view.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Next, 16. Okay, Ollie, would you like to say? Music, performing arts. How is storytelling evolving in performing arts today? How storytelling is evolving in performing arts today?
I think ultimately we live in an age where digitally everything is at our disposal and we have access to absolutely everywhere in the world. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen in the music world and in the performing arts world is the fact that creativity is coming from every single corner of the world, and we are being opened up to authentic storytelling from absolutely anywhere. And I think that has such a profound effect on the way that we see and absorb music, performing arts in all kind of different shapes. And you know, especially at the moment in music, you know, we have things like Afro beats or K-pop, you know, things that really started locally that have now become intrinsic in music culture around the world. So I think that the fact that we really have access and exposure to absolutely anything, anybody, anywhere has the power to express themselves creatively and actually put it out there for the world to see it, I think that is really the essence of the change at the moment.
Thank you. Sixx?
I'll give him a round of applause. That was good. Just to expand on that, I think when you are authentic, when the story is authentic and it's emotionally truthful, it travels beyond the diaspora and culturally, right? And so I don't write characters. I write about real people who are emotionally flawed, who are angry, who are just open. That's who I write about because it resonates, right? And it becomes real, and you say to yourself, I know that person. And that's the same thing that happens with music. We've seen it with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in Rush Hour, where even though he was an American actor, because it was emotionally truthful, it traveled beyond the diaspora. We see it with music, where we love some of our favorite artists, and we may not speak English or whatever their language is, but we know the beats, we know the music, we know the melody, because it is very truthful. If Beyonce says, to the left, everybody up, to the, you know that, even if you don't know the cadence or the creator. So that's, as a film and television producer and writer, authenticity will always outweigh and will always carry your story. I don't dilute stories, even internationally. I don't dilute it. If it's an emotional truth, it will travel. And I think that is what film and television allow as artists for us to do, is to be emotionally truthful, not to be characters, not to be things that people look up on Google and they think they know this. No, it has to be a very lived truth, and that would resonate with the audience, and it also resonates with the young people because they know the truth. They speak it, they see it, they go, that's the wrong thing. That doesn't happen that way. And so, therefore, if you want to continue to bring authentic stories, they have to be emotionally truthful. That's
great.
all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Terry?
Yeah, I think storytelling is probably the most important talent there is now in the AI age. Because people are kind of hungry for stories rather than just this milquetoast, I call it, information that's going all the time. It's just a repeat. Fast and Furious 10. Same movie 10 times, you know, unbelievable. And my position with Steinway is a lot of storytelling. And I've been with I'm a lot older than I look, but I've been with the company for 40 years.
You're marinated. You're not old, you're marinated.
So I was born in 1950, so I was born into a different world than we're in today, but there are no good old days. This is it. This is where we're sitting right now. Nothing's ever been better than it is right now. And so we can't change what's happening. We had to change ourselves, you know, but carry the stories that we've learned along the way, you know. So I'm the last person in Steinway and Sons that knew the great-grandchildren of Steinway. I have those stories, you know, and so I'll always be, even I'm semi-retired right now, but I'll always be involved with the company just as a storyteller, And I think that's the most, I don't know, this is Professor G in New York. He's become hugely popular online. And his two daughters, he's actually a professor of finance and business. That's the most important thing. He's teaching his two daughters to tell stories, you know. And it makes us unique. And just like you were saying, it's our originality and our experience we can share with other people is so important.
Brilliant. Thank you. Caroline?
For me, the storytelling, when it's linked, for example, in a TV show or in a very specific act, for example, the closing act of an international TV program, should be very focused on the target because it's very wide, and so the message should be very clear, and all the storytelling is driven from that message. For example, some in 2022 maybe, for Eurovision Song Contest, it was very important to close that ceremony with a love message against the war in Ukraine. And so all the storytelling of that episode was built with a very, very simple message that generated other content in the creative economy with other media, maybe newer than the classic television, of course, but much powerful. And this is.
Thank you so much. So authenticity and originality, and also being told ourselves about our culture and our heritage. And I can't agree with you more, because that's something I'm doing also, living in London, introducing Mongolian culture, sharing my culture and our heritage with people who've never been to Mongolia. They only know about our country by Genghis Khan, maybe horse riders, vast steppes, but bringing young creatives, showing them that we have contemporary culture. We are also expressing ourselves, and young people are really looking ahead how to express themselves. And this is the time which is really presented to us. I think these days are really great for content makers. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's okay, y'all can clap. We are all family in here.
Yeah, enjoy.
Do not use your outside voice.
Thank you, thank you. So we'll go to storytelling as cultural identity. We briefly touched on this, and I would like to invite Sixx King and Ivan also. So both of your films are rooted in strong local identity, Italian or Black story, and from independent productions to Italian family films. Yet you both reach international audience. So you go out with a message to international audience. Sixx King, your film often weave complex and authentic narratives. How do you tell authentic stories without falling into stereotypes, especially when your audience is international?
Yes, again, even, when I go into authentic storytelling, I don't dilute it. Even internationally, I don't dilute it. If you keep it emotionally truthful, if you keep it emotionally authentic, it travels beyond. Funny is funny. It's funny in America, it is funny in Black culture, like wherever it is, when you do not dilute it, people get it. And so for me, telling these authentic stories from a lived experience, a lived Black experience in America, I grew up in a very, very rough neighborhood. So there were people that I knew that I could write about. If you do not have a lived experience, it comes off as a caricature. And it's never good. It's always bad to the people that are watching it. Where I grew up, it was real gangsters, right? It was really people that were real gangsters. They moved around. It was very rough, and I knew those people. So writing Once Upon a Time in Philly, which was my first film, I actually went back to my old neighborhood and got real gangsters to play in the film because I knew that this is something that they did. It was a lived life. It was things that I learned coming up. So just telling the truth, getting people in the room that has that lived experience as writers is so important. And especially in America and Hollywood, where there's not enough black writers in the room, and they can sort of figure it out, or they can Google it, or what have you. Just hire a black writer, and that person who has that lived experience can tell you, no, that we do that, or no, we don't. If you have a movie that is, from Italy, bring someone in to consult with you so that it doesn't come off as a character. It is a lived experience for the viewer, for people that are watching these stories. Slumdog Millionaire was a great movie in India, but it was not diluted. So it traveled, and we understood it. Even if we didn't understand the language, we understood the pain, the glory, the triumph. Keep it authentic. That's what I do, and that's why I encourage all content creators, all writers, all producers, bring people in the room who have had that lived experience so that your content is always truthful.
Thank you, thank you. So Ivan, when you take deeply local stories abroad, what's harder? Is it hard to find distribution, or you have to translate it, or financing that respects authenticity? What's harder?
I found the microphone. Sorry, I was the one breaking the ice and even being late. So I'm sorry.
You found your microphone.
I didn't find the microphone. Sorry. So let's say that I'm very interested in what you are saying about the truth, about the emotional truth of a story. Let's say that every producer sometimes is not that clear what the producer does, because he's the first one trying to imagine what the script, where the script is going to bring the potential and the future viewer, watcher of that movie. So every time we read a script, local or let's say global, whatever it is, we try to understand if there's some kind of soul inside the story. From this side, the due of every producer, in my opinion, has to be being engaged in a daily and constant fight against the mediocrity, against the algorithm, against the franchise, as you were saying before. I mean, Fast and Furious, maybe we can even give up to the 11, I don't know. I mean, that is industry. That is something that follows some storytelling patterns, and there's an audience waiting for the next episode of that movie, and that's fine. A small producer, as we are, as a bunch of producers are in Italy, in Europe, and maybe all over the world, except the US, India, even China, where the industry grew up in the last 80 years in a very significant way, has to find every time something that deserves the time-consuming activity of looking for money, looking for distribution, looking for international sales. I mean, sometimes we meet authors that come to our office saying, this is an urgent story, this is a mandatory story, or even worse, this is a story that for sure fulfills the requirements for the Italian minister funding or the regional commission funding, wherever it is. That is not a good starting point. I can make an example that is not taken from our production, so it's not a self-promotion case. It was just released in Italy as a very small movie, which title is Le città di pianura. I don't know the English translation. Cities of flat landscapes, let's say like this. With a cast which is totally unknown, with a script that if I would have read it probably I would have had some troubles in figuring it out, the kind of movie that could come out from that script. The producer that chose that director and that script made a challenge, a total challenge. And the result is that, I mean, according with the Italian parameters of our theater market, now it is over 1 million of income, which is a very significant result for an independent movie like that, because it has all the things that he was saying. It is truth, it has truth, it has originality, it has a cast that is unbelievable, amazing, totally out from the star system list of the small Italian market. And that is a good example of how a local story, because it is set up in Veneto, and it refers to all the mood, I mean, to the mood that just a person living in Veneto can have. They are always not drunk, but they are always drinking something, starting from 8 in the morning till the 8 of the morning of the following day. I mean, it's a road movie where nothing happens, but everything happens. Everything is true and is somehow engaging in terms of audience. And the result confirms this. So, in my opinion, the producer's mood has to change. We are always requested to dig into the project. I mean, we live in a time where we are overwhelmed from audiovisual contents. I hate this word, content. You know, everyone makes contents, even OnlyFans makes contents. We just need stories. As much these contents grow up and somehow are everywhere, even into the supermarket while you are just buying something to bring it at your home, you are used to be you are as a watcher, as potential watcher, as potential participant to a story. It is always more difficult to find and to recognize the diversity. We always have to look for the diversity. We always have to look for the originality. And if it is local based, we are even more happy because we made this choice to be based in Puglia. And I have to say about the environment that surrounds you. I lived in Rome for 25 years. And I took the decision to come back to Bari 4 years ago. And I have to say that even the environment that you live in suggests you something that it is requested to do. So in Rome, I have to say that I didn't receive any more, I don't know the word stimulo, it's input or even a request to be proactive on something. And since when I came back to Bari, where I was born, I found a total different environment, a creative, a much more open to creativity, a much more open to development, a much more open environment looking to the way the future can be figured out. So, just to try to make a summary of what I was trying to say, the producer, the authors, need to focus on their storytelling without being, let's say, not superficial, not just being on the surface of the things, but dig into this. Dig into the reason why a story today, where and when everyone tells stories anytime, that story needs to be the object of a money-consuming activity like producing movies. Because I don't know if everyone knows, but I mean, the average cost of a movie, whatever you are able to reduce the cost, whatever, I mean, it doesn't matter how capable you are to optimize the cost, but a movie costs not less than 1.5 million in Italy. And we this is the minimum cost of a movie, 1.5 million. And the income that you can expect from a movie as average is much more less than this. That's why we are founded on the so-called cultural exception, meaning that with difference with what happens in the US or in the big film industries, we are supposed to be financed from public bodies as regional funds, national funds, European funds, because the market is not able to cover these costs. So what I want to say is that every author, every writer, and every producer being committed on an audiovisual product needs to be responsible of this, because you are, on one side, you need to be financed, otherwise your movie wouldn't exist. But on the other side, you need to be responsible of the quality, the originality, and the truth of the story that you are looking for. And this is the challenge for the future, even with the EI scenario that can reduce some costs, because it can be a very useful tool for making something happening. But even the most powerful EI tool needs to have a good story behind. Otherwise, it is nothing.
Great. Great. Thank you, Alan. Craig, next question is for you. In the music world, how do education initiatives like all Steinway schools help nurture creative innovation and global collaboration? So this is nurturing the younger generation. Sometimes we say the future is yours to young people, but actually they have to start now. The present should be also theirs.
Yeah, the All Steinway School program, we started about 30 years ago. And music in schools is always under attack from the conservative government. It's the first thing that goes, it's art.
Yes.
And so when we started this, everything's about people and personalities and what their focus and what their passion is. And at each of these Steinway schools, there's always one person that sees how important this is. And so when we had one school in Trinity School in London. They were underfunded. They had horrible pianos. They had a few nice pianos, and children are honest. They don't lie, they don't pretend that something's different. They know what's going on, you know. And they had a few good pianos, and those children would camp out for hours to get to play that piano. And when they became an all Steinway school, it totally changed everything. Nobody was waiting for this one piano to play. They all had nice pianos. And the enrollment went up because it's exciting. And they're composing. And in the UK, it's so, in the schools, I'm from America, and the school systems in the United States are really awful.
Very awful. I can attest to that.
Very awful. But when I moved to the UK and I saw all these schools where tiny children are being taught to play the piano, the guitar, to sing, to dance, without shame. Just to be out there singing and dancing is so impressive. And that's why there's so many great musicians in London, because they grow up with it. It's their national, it's the way they breathe. And so it's been the greatest initiative that we've done. And we also started a few years ago a Young Steinway Artist Program. The artist program is a family. We welcome in these promising young artists into our family. We don't pay them anything. They have to have one of our products, you know, to be one of our ambassadors. But everywhere they go around the globe, they have a home. So if anybody's in London they have a place to go. If they're in Bari, if somebody's traveling, they have a home as a Steinway representative here. And this is so important to a musician, especially pianists, because they can't carry their instrument with them. Yes. A singer can just show up, a violinist can show up with their violin. A pianist is at the mercy of what they have to play with, you know. And but that's been very successful, both the All Steinway School program, and and what it does too is it all these different countries like China, Africa, Saudi, all these places are becoming more into Western music. And they know, all these children and the parents know quality. So when they want to, if they have a serious, you know, it's every parent's dream to have a musician in the family, a really good one, you know. And so if they're going to go to a school, they want good tools to use, so they'll just go to a nice Steinway school rather than someone else. And we take a lot of pride in that. And you know, we've been partners with musicians since 1853. We've been promoting everybody from you know, Hoffman and Paderewski and all those people that were introducing music to the United States. We backed them all the way, and we still do that today.
Great. Thank you.
Before you go
Such
on,
a
I just want to say
beautiful
this really quick to you. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the arts with children in school. The arts is very, very important. It's always, yes, you can clap for that. It is always under fire in America. And as we can see, there's a lot going on in America right now. But it was because of philanthropic people like you that I am on this stage here tonight. It was because of the arts that actually saved my life. I got the name Sixx because I was shot 6 times when I was 15 years old. And the trumpet that I used to play was donated to our school. And the last bullet, I went through my trumpet and it stopped it. That was the last bullet that the guy was shooting me. He was robbing me for like my book bag and, you know, and stuff like that. So I affectionately got the name Sixx, which became my life number and professional number. And the last bullet ended up in my class ring. But if it wasn't for that donation, I would not be here. And it saved a lot of my friends, a lot of the friends that I grew up with, a lot of people in my neighborhood who went on to be, you know, successful, and some who did not cross. So it is emotional for me. Thank you. Keep supporting the arts.
If I can just say one more thing
What a
about
story.
that, because I think it's so important what we're talking about. We support a charity in the UK called Restore the Music. And they work with the poorest children in the UK. And we raise money every year for them to buy instruments for these kids. And these kids would never know they were musicians. This is how serious it is. I mean, we have young black men and women that are jazz pianists now, would never have known they were a jazz pianist, ever. Because they wouldn't have no opportunity.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Wonderful opportunities that you're giving to young people. Thank you. Now, storytelling beyond medium to Carolina. So, Carolina, you worked across music, live performance, and global television, from Eurovision to La Notte della Taranta. You worked with globally recognized artists while preserving local cultural heritage. So I have 2 questions for you. How do you balance mass entertainment with preserving cultural authenticity? And second question is, what can the creative economy learn from cross-disciplinary storytelling that blends music, live performance, and media? Thank you.
As creative director, I design show featuring artists from different cultural identity. It's very difficult to bring just one cultural identity. I should mix the identity with the main message that is more wide and that can reach all the audience. It is very important. For example, X Factor is a TV format that needs to bring in the center of the storytelling the authentic identity of each talent that maybe in the future will become, it can become a famous singer. For example, Maneskin, they grow and they ride all over the world. And I was very lucky because I was with them when they were kids, so they were scared. It's very important to preserve their culture and help them to bring over. Notte della Taranta is a very special project. I was called from a very well-known singer, and she didn't know that I was born in Puglia, and I knew this format, but I never worked with that team. And the musicians start writing all the song, all the music, to create every year a new format that is well-known in all over the world. And he was born here in a strange language, in Greek, in Latin, and an ancient language. This is the power of the creative economy, to bring a content and spread. And this is also the innovation of this, of the language, of the market, because it's very simple to work with the mass media. It's very difficult to give content and pictures and images in a very challenging world now. This is my opinion.
Thank you, thank you. So, I have a question for Ollie now. Your work at Lang Lang Foundation also spans cultures and generations. Using music tells stories that need no translation, because we all feel the music, and as Sixx said, we feel the rhythm, and without exchanging words, we understand each other. So I have two questions for you also. How do you see music and performing arts as a powerful storytelling tool in shaping and preserving cultural identity? And the second question is, working with young people globally, how do their diverse backgrounds shape the way they tell the stories through music?
Yeah, so I think music and arts has a profound ability to unlock potential in people, and I think that's really where it all stems from. The Lang Lang Foundation, we have a music education program that goes into the most under-resourced schools around the world, in the inner city, the most deprived areas, and we put music education into the curriculum of these schools. And when I go into these schools after, say, a year of the programs being in operation, the majority of these children have never touched a musical instrument before, and they've just been exposed to playing the piano for 1 year. And when I interview the parents and when I interview the children, the most common thing that I hear when I ask, what has been the biggest change, since you've had access to this program, is they say confidence. It unlocks confidence in these individuals to express themselves authentically. And I think that is the most powerful root of where this all comes from. When adults are able to express themselves authentically, when they have access to a tool that enables them to express themselves authentically, that's when culture starts to shift. Gradually, cumulatively, things come together and people are able to express themselves. And ultimately, that becomes the holistic picture that we're all exposed to. In terms of backgrounds, in the majority of our schools, we have about between 40 and 50 different languages spoken within the student base, right? So a hugely, hugely diverse student base. And ultimately, arts and creativity is a really powerful way for these children to express and to celebrate their different cultures, their different heritages, their different traditions, their different backgrounds. Obviously, identity is shaped from multiple different things, including backgrounds, including culture, including heritage. So when people can channel and have the ability and the access to channel these things into something like music or fashion or art or film, that's when magic really happens, that's when uniqueness happens, that's when children are able to discover, you know, their unique abilities. And I think as these things come together, gradually through time, you know, we see a holistic picture of shifting culture.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. We are all Grammy Award-winning artists when we're in the shower or at home or karaoke. So thanks for giving the children that confidence, because confidence is everything. In Black culture, we call it Black hype. And we use music, and Black people will hype you up. They will tell you you are the ish in anything that you do. And that's because of music. That's where we get that from. Thank you for that, man.
Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. Everyone having equal access to instruments and to the ways to express themselves, to tell their stories. It's such an important thing in this day and at this time. So thank you for supporting young generation. To Ivan, so you've produced culturally rooted Italian films, but also international films. Michael Mann's Ferrari, and Ferrari is a brand for Italy. In fact, I worked with some of the creatives in.
I didn't produce Michael Mann's movie. I was the line producer of Michael Mann's movie.
You worked on this project. Okay.
I mean, we have three souls as production company. First one is producing original content. The second one is providing production service facilities for all the international productions coming to Puglia or wherever to shoot their movies. And the third one is the branded unit content for spot commercials and whatever. So in that case, I was the line producer of this big movie, Michael Mann's Ferrari. We shot in Emilia-Romagna, and I mean, it was one of the huge US movies with, 400 people working at the same time on the project. I mean, a very challenging project.
Yes.
Please.
I also worked with Avi, the editor who worked on the Avi, who worked on Ferrari as an editor, and then also Roland Walters, who was one of the writers also. So I was going to ask you, how do international co-productions support cultural initiatives and creative economic growth?
So international productions, I mean, the Italian market, the Italian movie industry, in my opinion, is too small to think out of the box. I mean, you are used, all the Italian producers are used to have the same path for their movies. So asking the grants to the Italian minister, asking the grants to a regional film commission, asking to one of the three, maybe four main broadcasters to join the project, to support the movie, then it's done. I mean, or now asking to the platforms like as Netflix or Prime Video or Paramount or whatever to buy basically the movie and to make the financial plan just in one shot. This is the way the Italian industry usually works. Being involved in a co-production path is something different. I mean, for sure, it is something that helps you even financially speaking, because every country can bring on the project part of their own grants or investments or whatever. But mainly, the main reasons why the co-productions is something that they strongly suggest to every producer is that sharing the info about the project. I mean, everyone, as I said before, you read a script, you talk with the director, even if it is an Italian, a story held in Italy, now we assume that this is something that can be even considered interesting from the worldwide industry. But you are you are in your market, you are in your comfort zone, and you are thinking about originality, truth, and motivation for telling that story. sharing the same story with a Spanish partner, or with a Greek partner, or with a US partner, or with a Romanian partner, no matter how big is its market, no matter how wide can be their opportunities to finance the movie, it is something that is for sure helpful in figuring it out if that movie can work, not just in the comfort zone of your local market, and I already said before that the Italian market is one of the smaller ones because of the language, because of lots of things, because we are still convinced that talking about the story of 30 years old guys having love relationships with someone is really something interesting for everybody. So if you share the information with the co-producer, for sure you are going to enrich the movie even for the storytelling part, because he's the one saying, this twist, maybe it's not so strong as you believe. I mean, even on the writing of the story, it's something interesting. And further, you can have a wider market for your movie, because thanks to this feedback and change of the story, you probably will know at the end of this path that your movie will be much more understandable even from the Spanish audience, which is much more wider of the Italian one, because of the language, because of the story, because of Bartolomeo de las Casas, or from your UK partner or from your China partner. So co-production is always a challenge that asks you to go further your borders, basically. Your, geographical borders, but even the mindset borders that everyone has, talking about a story that it is based and set up in its country and in all the things that we can even assume as universal, but that are not universal at all. So co-production is something that is a process that for sure at the end of its path can bring to the movie some financial support, but more than that can give you some richer and wider elements to upgrade the story to an international audience. And that's why, in my opinion, it's very important to try to find partners always out from its national borders.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. For example, Puglia can be a really beautiful setting for international co-production, for films, even for fashion, as we will see through, for the next few days. From my experience also, the play I produced in London Coliseum with my team was set in Mongolia 2,000 years ago. It's about our kingdom, and we produced it in Mongolian language in London. And we worked with international and especially UK producers, collaborated with them. It's because they bring in good quality of how the West End play would look like and sound like, and how you can use the technology and props and all these things that East End has been using for generations. So we learn from each other, we also accept each other's cultures, and it makes our production stronger, as it were. And now our production is touring around the world. We were in Singapore last year, and this October we were in Japan, and I'm working to bring it back to London. Right. So I will really, I'm really up for co-productions and collaborations. And I think with Italy also, Mongolia has some collaboration projects. So Loro Piano, they've just had the factory in Mongolia from this year, and they've been in touch with Mongolian Kashmir industry for the last 40 years. And Loro Piano is known for a long time, and its heritage and its culture and its design perfection. But who knew, you know, the raw materials were from Mongolia? And only recently, through storytelling, because these brands understand why it's important to tell the stories, where they get their raw materials from, who they support, and how they're investing in another country to bring quality products. I think it's going hand in hand, both from Mongolia also, as a country, and also Italy. So, yes, co-productions are a great way to go ahead. Thank you very much. So, we are now going to diversity, generations, and cultural leadership. To Carolina, I have a question. As a creative female leader, how have you used your platform to elevate women's perspectives and girls' perspectives in storytelling?
Thank you. I'm still one minor leader since I started working 20 years ago. And in the past, it was difficult for me because in Italy, there is still the same. As a creative director in the television, maybe I'm the only woman in Italy. And but for me, to be honest, I have never felt the need to bring a feminine point of view in my project because I have always considered myself as a human being, and so I'm very appreciative when I think in the future there will be any difference between a woman and man and the man, and so I think the future is in that point. Actually, maybe we are not ready, especially in Italy. In England and in USA, there are lots of professionals that are able to do the job. In Italy, it's a bit difficult.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Y'all can clap for her.
Yes, she's the only woman working in the
She's a superwoman.
creative, as a creative director. Brilliant. And we've seen lots of your works, really amazing, it's inspiring. I have a question for Ollie. You work closely with young talents from underrepresented communities. How do your programs help these voices to be heard globally?
I think, again, you know, being able to express yourself with the tools that we're providing these schools and these children is a really key part to, you know, how they can express themselves and their identities and their backgrounds and their cultures. I think, again, it's, you know, especially in schools where there are so many, you know, 40, 50 languages, you know, the way to really get people to understand and learn and embrace and celebrate different cultures and backgrounds is through the creative arts. It's a really powerful tool to do that. So I think just by giving children and people access to express themselves, you know, again, their identity will come through when they express themselves authentically. You know, it's part of who they are, it's part of their upbringing, it's part of, you know, their world. So when you give children the tool to express themselves in some way, culture, background, identity comes through, and it becomes really special and profound, and that's how the rest of the world can actually learn and celebrate and be part of that as well.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. So I have one follow-up question. I have three more. So, across generations and borders, how can we ensure the next wave of creatives keeps telling personal, rooted and forward-looking stories?
So let's say that every author, every writer breathes the environment he has that surrounds him. So meaning that if we have a stuck environment, I mean, nothing happens, or everything it is done as it has always been done. That is the way to create bad conditions for the creativity to find its way. Usually, the creative, the most significant creative expressions, if we talk about paintings or movies or music, are the ones that grow up in a very bad conditions. One of the most significant painting and even audiovisual expressions I ever saw in my life was the one brought to me from some from Bosnian guys during the time where they were stuck in Sarajevo because they couldn't move and the Serbians were all around. In that case, creativity is something that is a reaction to something that you are not allowed to do anymore. Even during the fascist period in Italy, we had some kind of art expressions that were very significant. Otherwise, I mean, in a democracy where we hope to live always, what we ask to our environment is to be dynamic, not just stuck at the point where it is or in its comfort zone. What we ask to the environment that we have around, and that's why I was saying before, I find that Puglia, generally speaking, now is a very good environment to even to experiment some innovation, some sort of attempts to find creative ways, alternative or innovative creative ways. We ask to the system to be dynamic, to make crossover without investors, private investors, companies that make something different, to create a condition for the creative, for the artists to have even some, not just financial support, because it is not enough. The creativity is not something that can be created by a financing system. Creativity is something that can survive if it is understood, if there's an audience that can interact with a handcraft or a painting or a experimental movie or a kind of music that no one heard before. So it is something that affects the way the input that the environment sends to the people that lives there. Because if you have not an audience, you are not an artist. You are just a dreamer or someone that makes something that nobody understands. So this can be even useful for some artists that will be recognized as it happened in the past, will be recognized as artists just after they die. But this is not what we wish for the artists and for the creative that can express themselves in a safe environment.
Thank you. So that's a really interesting topic about funding and finding investors for your creative projects. And I have a question for Sixx. I have two questions. Firstly, I'm really curious about your name, why you call Sixx. And then secondly, the choice of the name, I would like to find out. I'm sure the audience is also. And the second question is, you experimented with cryptocurrency and blockchain for film funding very successfully. How are these models reshaping independent filmmaking? And are these helping democratize storytelling and give more diverse voices global platforms?
Okay. So, like I said earlier, the name Sixx, it was a nickname from my neighborhood because I got shot 6 times and survived. And, at the time that was happening, I wasn't afraid. I was actually angry because, I was like, he's shooting me he's robbing me. And I was pissed. And I was scared because I didn't want, I was like, I didn't want my mom to find out. But I was scared. I was like, man, I'd be so scared. But I wasn't scared at the time. And then my mother did my life number. My life number is a 6. My mother was protesting back in the 70s. She got hit by a car. And I was born at 6 months. So the number 6 has never escaped me, and it became my nickname and professional name in going into film and television. So I honor it, right? Everybody put their 6s up. Put their 6s up real quick, right? So I honor it. Yeah, I honor it, and it is it's something that of course I hold deep and dear. When we talk about financing, for me, and especially telling African American stories, it was very hard to get financing. I've self-financed, and it was very hard. A lot of Hollywood producers, or Hollywood in general, did not want to tell or finance African American stories, even though our culture moves culture. Everybody knows a Drake, everybody knows a Beyonce. We move culture, but it's very hard to finance our stories. And so I said to myself, if we want a different narrative, we have to be the author. So I went on to self-finance. Now, I did it with crypto. And crypto, to me, when I first learned about crypto, was very sketchy. I was like, wait a minute, I give you some real money and you give me something in digital? It is nothing tangible. And again, I come from a very rough neighborhood. We're not losing money, on any, front. And so what I found in doing it with crypto is that we could take the profits from crypto and make something tangible. Crypto can go up and down. You could lose it. You can, be a billionaire one day, and the next thing you know, you can be a no-air. And so that was very interesting, and to those who had cryptocurrency to say, okay, listen, we'll take the profit from it, and we will finance the film. And at least we will have something tangible that can keep on giving and giving and giving. And so I found that way. Also, the traditional gatekeepers are the studios, and they decide what stories get told and what stories don't. And now, because we have these phones and we have technology, we're able to tell those stories. Now, funding, we have tokenization and crowdfunding and those things that we are able, before, we're not able to tell these stories. For me, to finance my films, I came from the world of video music production. So I've produced music videos from everyone from Lil Wayne to Drake to Lady Gaga to Eve. I came from that era. So I knew that my production had to be of production value. I wanted to get people in seats. And so I started selling experience to those viewers. I started renting out the theaters because, again, I couldn't find a distributor. I couldn't find people who would invest in me. I could not find the financing from the banks. No one would do it, so I had to do it myself. When you are not given a chance, you have to make a chance. And so I put money together. I got some friends of mine. I put money together, and I started renting the theaters. And I started selling experience. And my first film, I sold 450 seats at $125 a seat. I started selling those seats every hour, 30 minutes. So after one show, I was able to finance any other project. I did it consistently for 7 years. It got so lucrative that AMC Theater, the largest chain, said, we want to do a deal directly with you. So I was the first African American to self-finance and self-distribute without a studio. And that is happening today. I did it with my film Jonesing. It became a success. I'm the only African American film to come out twice in a year. Numbers matter. So it wasn't that they wanted to, help produce that or what have you. It's the numbers. Culture moves the numbers. Stories move the numbers. You guys have these right here. Content is king. Celebrity is pretty much dead. You have TikTok stars that are bigger than stars that are from traditional Hollywood. But in the safety of your own home or what have you, you have phones. And these phones allow you to create the content that you want. And now that we have AI, I could blow up a building and I don't need $1 million to do it. And so therefore, moving forward, the next generation, the young people, you guys are the next generation of creating content that is compelling, but you also have to create a great story. AI will never do that. That comes from the heart, the soul, the rhythm. That's where it comes, and those are the stories that will succeed.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much. Just one last question. That's such an innovative and inspiring way to finance everything that you're doing, because without financing, it's hard to create, to expose your creative work to the international community. One last question. I know time is flying. So one last question is, what's one step governments or cultural institutions could take to make storytelling a core part of the creative economy? I would focus on funding and financing, and I like the way the Creative Europe is doing, the EU administration, and also the British and some other countries doing through their arts councils. And there are countries whose creatives are not supported at all. They're surviving rather than creating. So what's one step that the governments need to do to help people telling their stories?
I think the government should get rid of all of the red tape that comes with trying to find finances. I mean, it is like taking the Lewis and Clark expedition when you're looking for financing. We should make it as simple as anything that we're doing when it's social media. Move away from the red tape, because here's the thing. Creatives hate that part of it, right? Like we want to be able to create, and we know that, of course, people want to lend money and those things, but we should make it easier for creatives to say, hey, this is how I go, and I don't have to take all of these loopholes to get to the financing, and if it works, it works. And also, on the financing part, we should have creative people that sit on that board that can see vision. Thoughts are things. Everything that we think, we can manifest, right? But if you are a finance person and you don't have vision, then you can destroy everything. Things that could really matter without having the vision, and you're just thinking about the numbers, it makes it, incredibly hard. And we do not know who we are stifling when we do that, and we have to get through the red tape. That would be my first advice.
Great. Ivan?
Again, from my point of view, the best and widest investment that governments and institutions can do to preserve the creativity chance to get an audience and to get their proper environment is working on the audience side. In Italy, everyone can tell you if the olive oil they are tasting is good or is an industrial product or it's something bad. I would really dream that every student in Italy can have the same sensitivity for a good audiovisual product, a product that is into the industrial or algorithmic or whatever system, and something bad. We don't work enough on the taste of the young generations in in sharing and in feeling the emotions, the emotional truth of every single audiovisual product. We are part of the association that promotes this event, which is the Handcraft Artisanal Products Association. We like to think movies as artisanal products where the different capabilities, the different skills are focused on on creating the same emotion, the same feeling. But my point of view is that in the last years, particularly in Italy, but not also, the audience education has been totally forgotten. And in a time where this is a device that is your medium, your link with any audiovisual content, this is something that is going to create a desert surrounding the best form of creativity, because no one is able, has the skill, will have the skills, will have the proper information to recognize it, to feel that something is special and it is different from the bunch of audiovisual contents we are overwhelming with.
Thank you. Carolina, what's one step the governments and cultural institutions can do to help creatives keep telling their stories?
I think that the phone, etc., all this technology object destroyed lots of our new generation. So it's very important to refocus and bringing in the center the cultural identity, because the culture and the cultural identity are very important to preserve and to create new content that are awareness, also clever and new for the future.
Thank you, thank you. Craig and Ollie, about the government steps.
Yeah, did you say me? From where I sit in the conversation, I think it's really about investing in the youth. I think organizations like ours are almost a reaction to the fact that governments and these organizations do not put funding into young people getting access to the arts. They actually strip the funding for young people getting access to the arts. And I think there's a massive cognitive dissonance there, because they don't see that what children actually get from having access is essential tools for adulthood as well. You know, things like confidence, self-esteem, cognitive ability, emotional ability to express yourself. All these things are vital tools for adults, but the governments and, you know, organizations who are gatekeepers do not connect those dots. So from where I sit, you know, investing in the young people to have access to these tools is essential for the growth of these industries.
And Craig?
Yeah, I see the extreme importance in this too. I mean, just with the phone, there's a young woman in Canada. She's now a Steinway artist, Leifei, and she started her career on the phone during COVID. Now she's a Steinway artist. She plays the guitar, she plays the piano, and sings, and has re-energized jazz because she had a phone. You know, all these things happen. It's so powerful. It gives access to people, and that took no money of hers. She started with nothing, and now she's an international star because she had a mobile phone.
Great. So everyone can create content.
We're going to do piano and poetry. We're going to do piano and poetry. That's the next production.
So I would like to thank all our panelists and thought leaders. You've highlighted how storytelling continues to shape identity, diplomacy, and collaboration. Storytelling connects us. It's not just about who we are, but who we can become together. So in such a fragmented world, storytelling can still unite us. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, everyone.
Yes.